This morning, Team USA track and field team is set for Tokyo, but one of its biggest stars, Sha'Carri Richardson, is not on the roster. The high-profile sprinter had a chance to be named to a relay. American track officials decided to include her. Initially, Richardson earned her spot with this decisive first-place finish in the women's 100-meter at the U.S. Olympic trials, going straight from the finish line right into the stand, hugging her family.
My family has kept me grounded. This year has been crazy for me, going from just last week losing my biological mother, and I'm still here.
But following that emotional moment, the stunning headline, Richardson suspended from the team. The 21-year-old tested positive for marijuana, a banned substance.
I know what I did. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm allowed not to do, and I still made that decision, but not making an excuse.
Richardson telling Savannah in an exclusive interview she used marijuana after learning her biological mother had died.
I would like to say to my fans and my family and my sponsorship, the haters too, I apologize.
There was hope she could be selected to run on the women's 4x100 relay team, her 1-month suspension expiring before that event. But on Tuesday, USA Track and Field naming the 6 runners who finished behind Richardson to the team. In a statement, track officials saying while they are sympathetic and applaud Richardson's accountability, our credibility as the national governing body would be lost if rules were only enforced under certain circumstances. But acknowledging the rules surrounding marijuana use should be reevaluated. Overnight, Richardson tweeting she's grateful that fans are paying attention to her sport. The star sprinter is vowing to come back stronger.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Anthony Goodson alongside Adrian The Ace Stinson and Eric Russell. What's up, fellas?
What's good?
How was y'all's week?
It was good. Everything was good.
Oh, good to hear. Tonight we got a really good show tonight. Black on black crime. I think Ace, right before the show, you said the other black on black crime, or the true black on black crime.
The real black on black crime.
The real black on black crime. Eric, what's one?
One black on black.
The most potent black on black crime. What's another one?
Hating. That's
black on. Absolutely. Hey, look, we want y'all to join in, talk to us tonight. Tell us how you guys feel. We'll talk about Sha'Carri Richardson, among other things. Black on Black Crime is the name of the show tonight. Let's just go ahead and jump right on in. Okay. So as you guys saw a moment ago, we played the video of Sha'Carri or however you want to look at it. Richardson, she ran. For those of you who don't know, she was racing. You know, she was supposed to go to the Olympics. She failed the drug test, smoking some weed, and then the true hates began. That's when Ace decided, hey, look, we need to have a show about this. And Ace, tell them what you wanted the show to be. Hey, April Garnett, how are you?
I basically wanted to talk about black on black crime. So when we came up with this title, I know what a lot of people expect when we're talking about. In our eyes, we tell you that's not a true thing. Black on black crime, as they try to put out on the media. But we want to talk about the real black on black crime. We want to talk about the crime that we do to each other as black people and things like that. So tonight we're going to address we're going to address, of course, the issues as far as with Sha'Carri, but we're also going to address Black America and how we respond to each other in these issues, whether it's her, Bill Cosby, or whatever the case may be.
All right, so this is my take on it. So if rules are meant to be broken, then consequences are meant to be served. Sha'Carri Richardson, is she the culprit, or is she the victim of an outdated rule that many believe should be updated? Many believe that the biggest crime came after the news was broke that Sha'Carri would not participate in the Olympics. That the outpouring of disdain from the black community towards Sha'Carri was the real crime, towards Bill Cosby, towards R. Kelly. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Again, you are watching rebrandUS. Thank you all for joining us. We really want to hear what you guys have to say about that. So what we're talking about tonight is black on black crime, the true black on black crime, with the leading story being, of course, Sha'Carri Richardson And all right, now here's the deal. So I really haven't seen a lot of people talk bad about it, but I felt like, I mean, really, and truthfully, I think that most of the comments that people are saying are legitimate from my standpoint. I'll go ahead and say what my standpoint is. She did a crime. She even owned up to the crime, and she was punished for the crime that she actually did. Now, the crime that she quote unquote committed, a crime quote unquote itself, was smoking weed. It's probably a far outdated rule that the Olympics have. And in fact, in that video clip that we showed a while ago, they said that that's something that they're going to revisit. Do y'all think that the punishment fits the crime? Do y'all think, tell me y'all's take on that whole situation. Eric?
I believe people that know me know that I'm a rule follower for the most part. Of course, I'm not Jesus, right? So I break rules from time to time, laws and seeing like everybody else, right? But I'm a rule follower for the most part. I don't want to go down the hallway and be worried about cop behind me trying to pull me over into some BS type of stuff anyway. So in this case, I believe that the rules are rules, and I agree with what the Olympic Committee did. They decided not to run just because of the fact that the matter is the rule is the rule what it is right now. But it definitely a lot of stuff needs to be changed. So I always think this is an opportunity right now for a conversation to happen. I'm always saying a conversation to happen because laws and rules don't get changed until your conversations happen. Until you start forcing people's ability to keep the same rules in place. It's been there for 100 years. Some rules was 100 years ago that need to get changed now. So we have to keep that in mind as we continue to move forward. As things change, rules got to change. That's how I look at it. But for the time being, that rule is in place, unfortunately for her. And I should say she's taking accountability for it. I think she will rise above this eventually.
Ace?
I think that the ruling was fair. I think that the Olympic Committee, I don't think there was any emotion or any bias, anything in it. I think what happened is simply that there was a rule in place, it was violated, and they served consequences. My only problem about the whole situation is, and yes, I think she should have, been suspended and things like that. My only problem about the situation is us as a people. The way we handled it, it's like so were we sitting here waiting on her downfall? I mean, this is people say don't say child now. Yeah, she's a grown woman, things like that. But this is what is she? 21 years old, 22. So a post that I put out is the village that we're always talking about. When does this village happen? It takes a village to raise a child, stuff like that. When does this village happen? So this young lady has possibly missed out on the biggest thing that's going to happen to her in her life. But I'm very confident she'll be back. But so when do us as a village say, hey, you did wrong, you're paying your punishment, but keep your head up, you'll be back? When do we say, hey, look, you're down right now, you messed up, so now you got to work hard and go get it back? When do we give her that encouragement? When do we give her that push? I'm on Facebook. I'm a part of a lot of different sports groups and things like that, and I literally all day see grown men, like little kid, goody, look at her, and things like that. And I'm like, man, like, when do we as a people support? She messed up, and this is my problem. 99% of the people talking noise were smoking weed when they read the article, when they found out about it. So she messed up, but I mean, like I always tell everybody, like I put in my post, take a look in the mirror, open your closet, and then go sit down somewhere.
Let's go to the comments real quick. Anthony Mason says, the problem is the rules were made to disqualify our people in the first place. We had no means of creating PEDs. And when our people went beyond that without having to use PEDs, they put all other drugs, if you will, as a barrier to disqualify us. So here's my question. I like that, Anthony Mason. Thank you for your comment. All right. So my question is, this is rebrandUS. For those of you who don't know what rebrandUS is, and by the way, we're going to find Ace $5 today. He was supposed to say, please share this page, but I gave him a chance.
You didn't give me a chance.
It's scrolling on the bottom. I gave him a hint.
If you're going to find me, let me get this blunt. Find me. Don't find me for that. Please share this page tonight.
So here's my question. Going back to what he said, the problem is the rules were made to disqualify our people in the first place. Is this a black issue? rebrandUS is all about black issues. We try to talk about equality, rebrandUS, United States, about us, black people. That's what it's all about. Is this a black issue, or is this an individual who made a mistake? Because just like Ace said earlier, she's 21. She's a child. However, I don't know what the numbers are, but I'd say 60 to 75% of the Olympic athletes are children, excluding maybe the basketball team. Most of them are children, and nobody else is making this mistake, black or white. So where do we draw the line, and when do we just say, hey, look? And here's the thing about Sha'Carri. She said, I made a mistake. I decided to do that. I made the decision to do it. She took all the blame on something that she just couldn't blame anybody else on in the first place. So do you make this an I issue or a black issue? What do y'all think?
It's an I. I think it's an I issue. She made a decision. You know, she knew she could possibly get caught. Hey, I'm smoking, and they might test me, they might not. It was a random drug test. They test her. They might test her and might not, and she took full ownership and she took accountability and she's accepting the consequences. So, and my thing is, it's like, that's what we teach our kids. Be accountable. Step up. If you messed up, you made a mistake, but she's doing that. And then, so do we still beat her ass?
Like, well, I think,
it's like, do we still beat her down? Like, okay, you messed up. It's just crazy. I just don't understand this hate generation. It's one of the reasons I hate social media was ever invented, because it gave cowards a voice, and that really irks me. It really did. It gave cowards a voice.
Well, the one thing that I've seen actually quite a bit of support come her way. I've seen a lot of people say, white and black alike, male and female, everyone. The only people I really saw that I've seen that just kind of went on her was the Jamaicans. Jamaicans knew that they were tested. It was big in the Jamaican news. Let's go to Deborah Goodson real quick. She says that rule was for all athletes. I too say let's encourage her to try again. Yes.
Yeah.
Also absolutely, Ace. So I think that to me the bigger story is, where do the rest of the athletes sit in this? Because the reality is, this is a pain drug. It's a drug, but it's a pain drug. Whether it's emotional pain or physical pain, it's a pain drug. And this is something certainly not a performance enhancement drug. So it's a drug that I believe that should be legal. It's legal in 50% of the countries that are participating in the Olympics. So where you start is, this is an interesting year. First of all, the Olympics should have been last year. Second of all, you're not going to get some of the greatest athletes, including Sha'Carri, in this Olympics. Now, and although this is a great opportunity for many people, most importantly, the gymnastics, this is an opportunity for everybody to follow their fellow man and just sit out of the Olympics. Japan was already boycotting this Olympics. I personally think this will be a good opportunity, but not for Sha'Carri.
Why was boycotting? Why was Japan boycotting?
Oh, they don't think it's ready. They think this is a whole coronavirus situation with them.
I ain't trying to be funny, but we didn't even know they were boycotting. Like, they weren't gonna place no way. But I commend them for standing on their belief. Ain't like if somebody win this year, ain't like they're gonna be like, it's okay. If Japan would have been there though, like that. But
all 4/5 11 of their basketball team, huh?
Yeah, if they was in there, they would have gave you a run for your money. But my problem is, just like the biggest country, of course, that was making a big deal about it, Jamaica. So we're talking about marijuana use, and we're talking about Jamaica. I don't even have to explain that. Like I said, but this whole thing is like I said, it's rules, regulations, punishments, and then let's move on. As far as the the other athletes, I don't think they suffer or anything like that. I think the hating has made this issue way bigger. The people hating on her, and that's the whole thing, that they've given her more. It's like it backfired on them. It's like they had so much hate for her that it's blowing up. It's blowing up worldwide. I think we ought to do like how other races do when somebody do something. They got people that kill 20 people and they have a GoFundMe for. I think we ought to raise $300,000 for her just because she missed the Olympics.
Probably not a bad idea. Hey, look,
I got $6 on it. I can't afford 7, 10, 25. I got $6 on it though.
When we come back, we're going to talk a whole lot more about black on black crime and what it truly means. Right now, Sha'Carri Richardson. When we get back, it's going to be Rebrand What? Right here on rebrandUS.
It's smart.
If you just think about it, everybody that has had a harm or a foul done to them has been paid some form of reparations, except for us.
It's informative.
Systemic racism is a form of racism that is embedded as normal practice within society or an organization.
It's funny.
We were doing a march for equal rights for people in the adult industry with missing limbs.
It's powerful.
That's the thing I feel our community is missing the most. We just don't take action. We're so skeptical of so many things that we wind up being the ones holding ourselves back.
It's rebrandUS.
Rebrand.
I think that definitely is foundation of for everything. Because if you don't have love or a passion for something, you're not going to fight towards it. My kids are very young still at this point, 4 and 2. However, teaching them how to respect themselves, respecting each other. rebrandUS' mission basically is to help empower Black people to envision ourselves as better people.
All right, Eric, before we get to you, let's go to the comments real quick. Anthony Mason says, I agree. The rules should be followed. However, they should be reviewed and updated to today's athletes and how the culture has changed. Absolutely great comment. I fully agree with that one. Hey, Eric, it's on you.
Yeah, so today I wanted to kind of follow up with something I started last week. I mentioned the concept of maturity. And I think it's a great topic as we talk about what we're talking about, the topic today of Black on Black crime. Any kind of issue of race or any kind of equality, because when you have a conversation with somebody, you have to be okay with knowing that that person may not be mature enough to have a conversation with you to as to progress you or them, right? So if they're not mature enough to handle the conversation, you'll choose to figure out, hey, let me have this conversation with somebody else and not waste my time or my breath or my energy into this in scenario. So I pulled up a few little different surveys. They're top 10, top 15 qualities of maturity, emotional maturity, whatnot. I'm gonna get the top 7 now at the end of the podcast. Now I'm gonna leave the top 3 for that end segment. So I'm curious as I'm talking through these bottom 7. I'm curious who all may have them as I'm reading them out loud. Okay, so just follow along. Number 10 is knowing there's always room to grow and to improve. That means that you don't know everything, basically, right? I don't know everything. You don't know everything. Anthony kind of know pretty close to everything, but he got some things still to learn too, right? Number 9. Number 9 is being open-minded and not judgmental. And that's a hard thing for anybody to do, because growing up, you learn certain values, certain this and that, and to be able to change that, kind of like the stuff about the new information that's come out to everybody about what's been going on with the races and equality and classism, things like that. A lot of things we open up historically, but some people don't want to be open-minded and not just mental about it, which is causing some lack of movement in that area when you have a conversation with those folks. Number 8 is showing flexibility. Number 7 is being humble and being modest. Boy, we all have some issues with that. Number 6, being aware and considerate of others. That's something, being respectful, basically what they're saying, and that's something that we all can continue to get better at. Number 5, realizing how much you don't know. I feel like that's kind of the same thing as number 9, but we'll keep moving. Number 4 is you're able to accept yourself for who you are. That's a loaded one, so I'm not gonna go too deep into that one. But the top 3, like I said, I'm gonna lead to the very end of the podcast tonight. There's a lot of different quizzes, different surveys that you can go to for emotional maturity. I would suggest we all go through those things, because different ones are add different stuff to it. They take out things that this one has. But once again, this rebrand what is kind of morphing into reflection opportunities for us to kind of understand ourselves better, so we can hopefully have better conversations as we continue to move forward in our conversations about the Black community and the rest of the United States.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Eric. Rebrand what? Brought to you by, here's an opportunity for somebody to get them a sponsorship.
Hey, look, we're talking Black. Whatchamacallit in them?
We're talking Black on Black crime tonight. The true Hollywood, or the real world Black on Black crime, what it truly means tonight. And the lead person we're talking about is
Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri. Mary Jane.
Now you gotta have a little bit of fun with it. How you truly feel about it.
We definitely support. So Sha'Carri, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm behind you 100%, but I don't pass up on a good joke for nobody.
Joe, no, boy, he on it.
Hey, look here, but black on black crime, we've been seeing this from for years past, and it's a term that's been used mostly when it comes to violent crimes. But in the real black community, black on black crime has nothing to do with me shooting you. I mean, that's just murder. That's just the crime itself. True black on black crime has everything to do with what I say and how I build you up. That's really what that has to do. And that's what brought this whole show about. Ace, I think, had the feeling to talk about how the community kind of really just dogged Sha'Carri. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to see what we could do to kind of not only bring her up, but the rest of the community as well. So that's what we're talking about tonight, the real black on black crime. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Let's talk about what happened over the last couple of weeks. Bill Cosby got out of prison. Now, Ace, I know that's near and dear to your heart, but see, here's the thing. No matter how you feel about the whole Bill Cosby situation, and really maybe that's what it's about, how you feel about the situation, right? You start breaking this thing down, you start thinking about what the victim said, but I think the true story behind this is, why did it take them 40 years? And if it was such a rape, if it was such a violent situation, they wouldn't have taken 40 years, especially with such a high profile person. Let's go ahead and bust him out. And 80 of them come out, but yet and still, Ace, I think you believe that black people jumped on him as hard as not anybody, So,
well, it was in the whole, and I mean, we got to go in reverse to come forward. Of course, the whole Bill Cosby thing, black folks are getting mad because the man said, pull your pants up, have some pride. Let's stop. Nothing wrong with welfare, because you need help, things like that. But let's not make it a goal to use welfare as a crutch. Let's use welfare as a stepping stone. If you need welfare, let's use it, and then let's get ahead. Let's take advantage of things that we have going. But people are basically mad at him for telling us to stand up and have pride. But then these are the same people walking around with shirts with African symbols and hollering Black Lives Matter and wearing afros, putting their fist in her and stuff like that. But you mad at somebody for bettering the community, and like I said, people hopped on Bill Cosby. They were mad at him. And then when these accusations came out, and let me real quick, I don't want to make anybody mad, especially any survivors of any type of attacks or any rape victims, sexual harassment, anything like that. That is 150% not condoned, anything like that. I just find it hard to believe that you have 40 plus women that were scared to come out. I do know people emotional. Some people don't want to come forward, but I find it hard to believe that you have 40 women that were scared and emotional and things like that, because if you're saying that, then what you're saying is women are these weak, feeble creatures and things like that. That's just hard to believe. And that's just something that I can't believe on the fact of that. But we as black people, you crucify Bill Cosby without even knowing he was accused. He never was proven, even with the previous thing where they cut the deal. He never admitted to it, to that, but at the same time, your uncle still stayed with your grandmama that touched you when you was little and you ain't said nothing. Your cousin that messed with your other cousin, you ain't said nothing. Your granddaddy, you wonder why your granddaddy like 18 years older than your grandmama and you ain't said nothing, but you wanna hop on Bill, or it's that neighborhood molester that everybody, he messed with stuff like that, but you ain't said nothing, but you wanna hop on Bill. So once again, I say it all the time, take a look in the mirror, open the closet, and go sit down.
Yeah, so what you're saying basically, Ace, is that a lot of black people, and it's probably all people, but specifically our community, has a lot of ability to be hypocritical. We got
a lot of Uncle Ruckuses.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So yeah, just the hypocritical piece and the judgment piece is the piece that gets me, and it makes me nauseous at times, thinking about how people can I got this
y'all make theirs. Y'all hate so bad.
For real, it's sickening, because I deal with people sometimes that I can't deal with you really on a personal level, because you got this going on, I know it, but you want to highlight somebody else's issue because you don't want to deal with your own. So
right.
I can't stand that. So we have to get better as people, Black people especially. We got to get better with that.
Yeah, people. I had some people that didn't really like my, last week when I had the Coogee sweater with the cigar from Bill Cosby. It was some people who just really didn't appreciate that. Like they seriously, didn't appreciate that or whatever. But hey, it is what it is.
Self-hate says Jermaine Givens.
That's good.
Going to the comments. Self-hate says Jermaine Givens. You know what? Let's talk about that for a minute. Self-hate. If you feel like a black person, as a black person, did something wrong publicly, is it okay to say something about that? Or do you just, as black people, have to keep it behind, not necessarily behind closed, well, I guess maybe behind closed doors, just don't go publicly with it. It's just like if your spouse says or do something out of line, and you don't want to call them out in public. So what you want to do is you want to kind of support them until you get home, then you let them know. Is that the situation that we have as black people? We're like spousing each other.
We picking and choosing what we want to address. We so quick to attack people, and it's that crab in a bucket mentality. It seems to me that we really don't start hating people and stuff like that, getting money. And I can get on each level. I tell you what, we can start at the top level. Everybody loved Barack Obama until he became the president of the United States. Once he became the president of the United States, he ain't did nothing to help black people. He ain't, but when he was the senator, when he was running for the presidency, I can't believe it, boy. It's a black, he cold, man. This black dude, he gonna do it. We were supporting him, but as soon as he becomes the president, now he got the power. Now we start hating on it. And Jesse Jackson, I'll never forget you said you want to cut his balls off. You thought that microphone wasn't on. That was the funniest thing ever. But you march with King. You don't really, you get a pass, but we watching you. Okay, so we went from the presidency. Let's take it to like a lower level. Cardi B. I remember when everybody was just a Cardi B fan because she came up from nothing. She was stripping in the club, stuff like that. She got together, made a hit song, started making money. Then all of a sudden she became number one, and she get endorsements and got her teeth fixed, and now she's like got platinum songs coming out the wazoo. She's everywhere on TV and all this kind of stuff. All of a sudden she starts getting hate. All of a sudden people start saying, well, is she a culture vulture? She's not really black, but she's getting this, or and people start hating on her because
but you got to ask yourself, all right, I like to look at this thing, I don't know if it's optimistically, but I look at other races and see what the other races do. For example, they hate on Tom Cruise from time to time. Leah Remini, of course, she's not as big as some of these, but they hate on her. That's Carrie from The King of Queens when she started talking about Scientology. Brad Pitt has had his moment. Mel Gibson, my man, he has certainly had his moment. The list goes on even with white people. Why is it that we spot it? Is it because they're black, or is it because we're black doing it to blacks? Is that why?
We're black doing it to black. I mean, we, as much as people don't want to admit it, we behind the 8 ball right now as a people. We can't afford to do some of the stuff that other people do. Everything we need to do, we need to try to keep positive and be progressive. We can't afford to worry about what other races are doing and things like that, because we are behind the 8 ball. Like, we're in a position where right now where we have to support each other. We have to uplift people that's doing positive things. And what's crazy about it, for some reason we get it flip-flop. We run to the negative, but we run away. We run away from the positive.
But that I think that's the way of the world too. The world likes to see some negative things versus the positive things. But you know what? I mean, it's all about support, in my opinion. I think one of you guys were talking about this earlier today. It's funny how we look at take sports, for example. You always go for your local team. I was talking to one of y'all about this. You always go for your local team first. And then if you don't have a local team in it, you go for your state team. And if not a state, then in the Olympics, you go for your country and so forth. And I think, in my opinion, black people, we do that until we, like you said earlier, we get real successful. And then that's when the problems come. But, I guess at the end of the day, the question now is, what's the solution behind it? Hey, we are talking black on black crime. We want to hear what y'all have to say about this. Give us an example of how we can come up with a solution. Give us an example of maybe even some black on black crimes outside of violent crimes. That's what we're talking about tonight. And we want to learn a whole lot more about this subject. Sha'Carri Richardson, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, we're talking about all those things. We'll see y'all in just a bit.
rebrandUS. It's motivating, inspiring. It's a conversation that needs to be had. It's Adrian The Ace Stinson.
If you're not gonna help, don't hurt.
Eric Russell.
We need financial literacy. We also need to get over this level of fear that we have.
Anthony Goodson.
That my ancestors, whether they were slaves, innovators, or the first blacks to do something, their lives had a purpose.
It's unique to any other podcast. It's Rebrand You, Rebrand Me. It's rebrandUS.
Ace's Place. All right, we are back, and it is time for Ace's Place.
What's going on? Eric's so sick with hate, I think he had to go regurgitate. I was
We're talking a little bit of Sha'Carri Richardson. And that music you may be hearing in the background is a little bit of Afro Man.
because he got high.
Because I got high. All right, let's go to the comments real quick and let's talk a little bit to Deborah Goodson. She says, bring it up. We love each other as long as we are equal. When we make $1 more than the normal, then that's when we start the hating. That's true. We can't police us. I like that. That's from Jermaine Givens. All right, so Ace, what do you have for Ace's Place?
For Ace's Place, first of all, in her absence tonight, I want to give a shout out to Miss Kimberly Dial. She's in hope. I'll wish her good luck. She's at open mic night, the Poetry Slam in Edison, doing her thing. So Kim, hey, look, we're rooting for you. I hope you come away with a prize on that. Ace's Place tonight, kind of going along with the subject that we're talking about. I just want to something else that was hot in the topic. The turkey leg hut in it's Houston, right? Is that right, Goodson?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Okay. So the turkey leg hut in Houston, so they changed up their dress code, and so now they just want you to be, a little more appropriate. They don't want do-rags, bonnets, sagging pants, and all of that at their establishment. That's one of the things I want to know what our listeners thought about it. I think it's a great idea, for a restaurant to want to have, some kind of decorum. I think we should take pride in ourselves and think about it before we leave the house. Monique tried to tell us a couple of months ago and everybody jumped on her. Now the turkey leg hut is telling you that they want you to dress up. You got mad at True Kitchen Cocktails, when he said it. So I want to know what's going on. What do you guys think about turkey leg hut? And stop lying if y'all try to say they're not good, because I know we here in Dallas and we know plenty of people that drive to Houston just to go to that restaurant. It goes just to go stand in that line and get those turkey legs. But big question for Ace's Place is, why do we as a people get mad when we're critiqued? Constructive criticism by our own. Why do we get angry and upset about that? Why come we can't take a look at ourselves and evaluate ourselves and see if, hey, maybe we should address this. Anytime there's somebody that tries to better, or anytime somebody tries to make something better for us as a people, it's a black establishment with black customers, and they want to upgrade. We get upset about it, and we say that, well, we're not going to eat there, and things like that. So it seems to me that things have gotten so bad that we equate ratchetness to our color. Like we actually think that's part of our culture now, especially the younger generation.
Let me ask y'all: do you believe that it's do you believe it's a case of not when people don't feel like they're being critiqued versus people feel like they're being chastised?
Well, no, and the reason I say that is because the upscale or some of the white establishment, you don't question them. We don't question them at all.
Rose Francois, let's go to the comments. She says, have you all heard about the Haitian president's assassination?
Yes, Rose. I was going to address that
Rose.
later in the show, Rose. I heard about that, and that's a very, very, very sad incident, and it's crazy. And Rose, keep us updated because I haven't checked back with anything, but his wife is in critical condition right now as well. If I believe so, the assassination happened at the home.
Yes.
That's a scary situation, and definitely much respect and prayers are with our brothers and sisters in Haiti, because that's a big ordeal.
Absolutely, that is definitely something that we need to talk about, and actually I'd love to have Rose on the show and talk about that one.
Hey, Rose, get your butt on this show, Rose. You've been trying to hide out.
It's a crab in the bucket. Hey, Rose, I would love to have that conversation, because I mean it's a higher level. And it's a country full of just black people. You know, we had Rose on the show several times, and we've talked about the Haitian Revolution. And that would be, I mean, like, because now we're starting to look at skin color. You know, it's not an American issue at this point. It's a worldwide issue, it's a skin color issue at that point. So that's something I would definitely like to talk about. And that's a violent black on black crime, one that we're not even necessarily talking about tonight. So that's something we need to dive into. And of course, we need to find out more about the why behind it. Eric?
But I think that's part of, you said it's a color thing worldwide. I think even going back to simple, we're talking about the Olympics, Jamaica, those Jamaican athletes are typically what color?
Black.
Right. That's still black on black crime. It's just on a more basic level. We don't, we didn't even talk about it really from that perspective, but I think it's why it's so important and why Ace brought this topic up, because there's enough hate. There's enough backlash coming on black people. And that's, I mean, that we have to be able to support people that look like us, so we can kind of combat some of that stuff, so we can get to the point where we can actually live harmoniously like everybody said they want to, right? But there's no way we all live harmoniously the way it is right now, because there's still a lot of inequities in the world and unequalness in the world. You know what I mean? And you brought the whole topic about color and culture. That's a whole different topic right there. Color versus culture. Because I'm black don't mean I got to do this. Just because I'm white don't mean I got to do this, right? So we have to have, that's another conversation we probably have to have at some point to break that down. What is the difference between color and culture? Color, like I said, can be Jamaica, could be Haiti, could be Puerto Rico, it could be anywhere. But culture, even in the United States, I live in Texas, but California could be a different culture than Texas culture, and we are all the same. So that's kind of, it's a whole lot of different things to break down from this conversation. So I'm so glad you brought it up, Ace. But yeah, black on black crime happened as simple as Jamaican athletes talking about it and hate going in on Sha'Carri.
Yeah, and that's the difference, like you said, you know, with color and culture. It's just like the culture, you know, black men right now, the end thing is the beard. This beard isn't even real. I put this on for the show because the culture, you know, that's, you know, well, as soon as we get out the show, I take this thing off. It's itchy and everything like that.
Black on black crime is what we're talking about. My
name
is Anthony
Put that
Goodson.
response back up there that one of our most famous and
absolutely
best viewers put up. Jesus Christ is the answer.
The only way.
You are watching rebrandUS, and tonight we're talking black on black crime. We would love for you all to continue to chime in. Thank you for the comments, by the way. Thank you for that, Deborah Goodson. Thank you for that, Rose, and many, many more. Jermaine Givens and Anthony Mason, all y'all. Thank y'all for y'all's comments. I knew the beard wasn't real. Oh man, somebody told you. You know how they knew, because I told them. I text somebody the other day about it. But anyway, so we want to read y'all's comments, and finally we finally get work out of Ace. Share this page tonight for sure. Email us at rebrandUspodcast@yahoo. Y'all can find us on where can they find us, Eric?
YouTube right now. YouTube and Facebook right now. That's two places you can pop up anywhere and find us.
Yeah. Now YouTube, remember, is rebrandUS podcast all together.
Absolutely.
Speaking with real quick, just before you go on. Speaking of Rose, one of our most esteemed authors on the show. I was actually going to add this into the black on black, but I don't want to go on the subject where I was just making mention. So I just finished reading Ike Turner's autobiography, and I'm beat. But, we'll talk about that a little later. But go ahead.
My mama gonna get me. My mama and daddy gonna get me. They say you laugh too much. All right, and then I picked that one to laugh at. Whew. Boy, that joke was I couldn't come up with it. I was gonna say killer, but
you have to read it in his voice. I'm beat because it takes so long, because you have to read it in his voice and his skill level. So at that point, I knew I had to hit Tina in order. It just took a lot of like I said, I'm beat. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Great segue, great joke. Black on black crime. That's what we're talking about tonight. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about R. Kelly. R. Kelly.
Where are my fans that sitting outside the jail talking about let the Pied Piper out? He shouldn't be locked up. Where is everybody?
Well, see, now that's the opposite side of black on black crime.
Because that's black on black crime right there. Supporting R. Kelly, you are participating in black on black crime.
Deborah Goodson says that was worth the laugh. Okay, thank you, Mama. All right, so now the R. Kelly situation, which is interesting to me because I don't know that he's been proven guilty yet. I think he's still in jail waiting a court trial. I don't really fully know the story just yet. However, I think all signs are pointing to guilt. However, there's a lot of guilt in there. And not only do we see R. Kelly, not only do we see R. Kelly has been the guilty party, the parents of these children should be the guilty party. And yet we as a people, we back R. Kelly. Is that black on black crime? Or if we were to go against him and bash him, would that be? Now, see, we as a people, we can't pick and choose what's right and what's wrong.
That's right.
Right. So that is a situation where we really should dive into. What do you think, Eric?
Most definitely agree with that 100%. Robert, absolutely right. Not R. Kelly, Robert. Now you're right.
Wow.
But for sure, I think that you just like if you're in a family, you got siblings and you got parents. Parents are supposed to hold the kids accountable, but they're not supposed to humiliate them in front of people. And they're not supposed to bash them. They're not supposed to be lit up to the point where they become less than themselves, right? So you hold people accountable, but love them. You know what I'm saying? You like we talk about Sha'Carri, which want to make sure that she knows she did wrong. That's cool. You did wrong. Do better next time. Now, if they need help, we gotta get them help too. That's the second step of it. When you find out they need help, get them help. So
my girl Janique, she said we call him Robert now. Hey, Janique, thank you for watching.
What's up, Janique?
All right, let's take it a little deeper on this black on black crime type situation. Of course, talking about people, saying what you have to say, that's one portion of it. Uplifting. Let me tell y'all a quick little story. I used to work in pharmaceutical sales. Literally, I had about 25, maybe 50 job interviews in the pharmaceutical sale industry. 49, if there were 50, were white people. Maybe 24 if there was 25. And not one of them gave me a job. And I interview well. I interview extremely well. But that one black dude, Derek Reed, I'll never forget, he's the one who gave me an opportunity. So there's a lifting up that we can do. We have a duty, even if we don't own the business, there's an opportunity where we can go and lift some people up. Now, had he not given me that job, and I'm qualified and I interview well and my resume looks good, everything looks good, is that all of a sudden an issue where we are keeping each other down? Because in that particular instance, that's an industry that's very exclusive, very hard to get into.
Yes. So, that's the same guy that didn't give me the job.
Oops.
So I'm not taking it. He ain't no different.
Hey, this is a true story, y'all.
True story. Wasting my gas. You could have just told me no on the phone, brother.
But I mean, that goes back to representation. If that black guy wasn't there to tell you yes and you no, yes and you know, then one of y'all both of y'all, neither one of y'all probably have a job at this point if it's exclusively says as it is, right? So representation is very important that once you get in to help people up. Now, I don't know if you guys, this is something totally, it's related, but not necessarily. But Rachel Nichols, and a female reporter on the ABC and ESPN network, I can't remember which one. She had made a comment about another female reporter. Rachel's a white lady, and this other reporter's a black lady. Rachel made comments about she got in because she's a black woman. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of goes what you're talking about now is the fact that it's exclusive, and the fact that you get in as a black woman is making it even harder. A white woman, she got to a little bit, but not as a black woman got in it, not because of her color. You know what I mean? So I'm saying we have to be able to support each other in a way where it's impactful and representation does matter. Because if we don't, then it's going to be really difficult for us to ever get to the point where we can be having a seat at the table. And then some people say, obviously, have your own table and invite people to come to it, right? So we won't ever get to either one of those places if we can't get rid of some of that stuff.
Well, if y'all like hearing Eric talk, you got a little bit more. Rebrand what coming up?
It's smart.
If you just think about it, everybody that has had a harm or a foul done to them has been paid some form of reparations, except for us.
It's informative.
Systemic racism is a form of racism that is embedded as normal practice within society or an organization.
It's funny.
We were doing a march for equal rights for people in the adult industry with missing limbs.
Because that's the thing I feel our community is missing the most. We just don't take action. We're so skeptical of so many things that we wind up being the ones holding ourselves back.
It's rebrandUS.
Rebrand. I think that definitely is the foundation of for everything. Because if you don't have love or a passion for something, you're not going to fight towards it. My kids are very young still at this point, 4 and 2. However, teaching them how to respect themselves, respecting each other. rebrandUS' mission basically is to help empower Black people to envision ourselves as better people.
I don't know if y'all noticed, but I did everything I could to get a clip of Eric without him playing with his ears, and I just couldn't find it.
that intro, that's just a feel-good intro, man. It just, man, you know, like, if he don't even have no experience, but if he was running for something, I'd vote for him.
Eric, it's on you.
Trustworthy, right? You know, it is what it is. Get that face. But anyway, so I was gonna say that here go to Eric again. It's a comforting mechanism. I'm not to just say that. Anyway,
if you're running for something, your slogan will be "He who scratches ears has no fears." I'm gonna fight for you. I don't know. I can hear what you're saying. Eric, Ace, your turn.
Hey, I don't want to talk down on the brother, as far as passion, but I just hate to see him get really confused.
Doctor told him he was going deaf. He said he couldn't hear it. It was hard to hear.
You boys are wild. But I was going to say the last top 3 for the end of the show. But since this, I ain't know we do the second segment or not. But top 3 of the mature survey. So being thankful and feeling thankful for what you have. Is very important. I think it helps create positivity all around you. Also, it creates positivity in your brain, and it create those endorphins in your brain that helps the outside of you become more positive as well. Number 2 is taking responsibility for yourself and your actions. So I would say Sha'Carri has done that. She's taking responsibility for her actions, right? So she has at least one of these signs of emotional maturity, even at 21. And the top reason or top way that you know that you have emotional maturity is when you have control over your own emotions. And that's self-explanatory, but an example of that, obviously, you have an argument with a friend or a family member, whatever the case may be, or having a discussion, and all of a sudden it says something about that something your mama did in the way back when, or your daddy did way back when. You understand? And you go off on them, right? And then you start throwing chairs or hitting. You're not controlling your emotions at that point. So when you be able to hear people say something negative about you or somebody that you love, but still be able to have a conversation with them or walk away and just not deal with them anymore. I mean, that's controlling your emotions at that point. So that's the number one reason. And most of the scales, that's the number one reason, the number one way that you know that you have emotional maturity. So.
And unfortunately, you did 10 of those, and I don't even think I'm at like 15% of those. So maybe I'm not the mature guy because I love cutting somebody down. Well, at least my mama didn't work the parking lot at the truck stop.
Well, you control your emotions. You need to control your mouth. That's a whole nother discussion.
Okay, yeah, well, you're right. Yeah, I control my emotions because I do woosah before I say something like that because I want to make sure. It's not that I don't want to say something not hurting. I want to make sure I really cut deeply and precise. Like, is this the right thing to hurt you?
See, that's a whole nother level of handling yourself because you actually put a lot of brain power into make sure that you're doing this as specific as that thing to this person because they did it to you. Anyway,
right.
Who wants to be around some person that's not thankful or caring?
Nobody.
All right, so black on black crime. Y'all be sure to share. We have about 15 minutes. Let people get in and enjoy the show tonight. What is black on black crime? I don't know. You know what? We didn't really break it down and define it earlier. What is black on black crime to you? Of course, you know, when America hears it, when the news media and people in general hear it, they hear shooting, drive-by shootings, and all those things. I personally believe that, you know, if the divorce rate is higher than 60, 70%, then that's black on black crime. I personally believe that if the fathers are not in their homes of their children, and that, or even the lives of their children, then that's black on black crime. I believe if a man is not being a man and the woman has to be the woman of the community, the house, or whatever, that's black on black crime. Black on black crime is far deeper than what you think on the news. See, if you only allow them to see that, then you start missing all this other stuff. And we're all culprits. I do it myself. I walk through the mall. If I see a black person doing something I don't like or disagree with, then I may say something. That itself is a crime, as opposed to lifting each other up. I mean, you know, my mom and dad, they always told me that if you put positive energy in the air, then that's what you get. That your speech always be with grace, seasoned with salt, so you know how to speak to any man. So in other words, if you're saying something negative about someone, then even if they can't hear it, you put the negativity out into the atmosphere. Black on black crime goes further than me pulling a trigger. That's just a crime against a black person.
Absolutely.
Eric, what's your take?
Well, two things I want to say about that is we were branding this terminology too. Like you said, in the news, they got you thinking one way when it's all this other stuff you're talking about right now that's a little more deep rooted that we got to pull out. I think you pull out the deep root stuff again. You know, what about the top stuff, because you want to come into fruition at that point. Taking care of home, take care of the community, all that stuff takes care of itself. The second thing is back to the positivity, things like that, and being caring and loving other people and having a positivity about yourself and around you. I was listening to a Bible study one day where this elderly lady, she brought it to attention, and I was a part of the Bible, but she put it in the way of you can't catch a fish until you put a worm on a hook, right? So you go catch more fish once you got them already reeled in to you. Like, you're not going to change it about or help change it about if they don't trust you. They don't think that you love them. They don't feel like you care for them. If you sit down and just ridicule them, you're not going to really mean. You're not going to change them. They're just going to be rebellious. They're going to continue doing what they're doing. So you have to be able to show them that you care about them first. And then let's have a conversation about what things you feel like they can change.
Nice.
I like that. I like the way you put that. And that goes back to where, you know, even from our first show when we talked about, you know, family, it starts in the house. It starts in the upbringing. You know, I was gonna say one of my black on black crime is raising your kids to be raising them to be thugs and gangsters, not giving them a chance. You might have a lawyer, you might have the next black president, you might have a lawyer, you might have a judge, you might have a military general or something like that. But you know, you're raising them to, you know, you're participating in the pipeline to prison because you think it's cool for your kid to wear his bandana, or you know, you teaching them how to box. Let me use a different term because I don't mean the professional way. You teach them how to scrap in the streets before you teach them how to do his ABCs. You know, I know kids that can't really talk, but they can say the whole raps and every cuss word that's in the rap. So that's black on black crime. Give your kids a chance. They don't want to be lame because you lame. Give them a chance at a you know, a better life. You know, just because you ain't don't mean they ain't gonna be. You know,
absolutely. And we talked about this
on Purple Rain.
Just because we talked about this earlier today. I think I talked to both of you about this. I lost my train of thought, so I'll just go into the comment. What would you call the South Side of Chicago? I'm not real sure who that is, but I'm sure his last name is Goodson. Because
a shame.
I think, you know what, there's some places around the world outside of the United States, like Beirut, that I wouldn't want to go to. There's parts of China I wouldn't want to go to. There's parts of certainly the Iranians and all those places I wouldn't go to. That is a violent area. That's what I would call it. I wouldn't call it Chinese on Chinese, Iranians on Iranians. So Chicago, the South Side, I would call it a very violent area. Simple as that. So anyway, I think next week we're going to have a very, very interesting show.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll find out what it is here in about, 10 seconds? Hey, yo, Ace, who do we have on the show next week?
I'm discussing the topics that have to deal with the black family. You know the food or the drink is good when the person says swallow instead of swallow. We do have a new sponsor. Today's show was brought to everybody by Pastor Jim Jones Flavor Kool-Aid. Let's all take a nap. Married couples that swing at the playground, are they confused or just risk takers? Giggity giggity.
You catch Adrian The Ace Stinson and the rest of the rebrandUS crew live Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central on YouTube and Instagram at rebrandUS Podcast, Facebook at rebrandUS, or rebrandUS.org. I decided to let it play a little bit longer.
Well, I love that giggity line.
West Dallas, says Anthony Mason. Ace, what do we have next week?
Indeed, that's Mason. I agree with you. We got certain parts sure needs to be next week we actually have I found sponsors. We got a couple of people they may come on the show for various reasons, but we actually so next week, hold on, let me make sure I got it right. So next week's show is actually gonna be sponsored by Chauncey with his fact. Scratch that. Not Chauncey. It's actually gonna be sponsored by the Tekashi 6ix9ine fan club. So they told me to tell everybody, don't worry if you miss the show because they'll tell you everything.
Snitch joke. A snitch. We don't hear many snitch jokes. That's good.
Yeah, they're gonna tell you everything that happened. You know, so you ain't gotta worry. What happened on rebrandUS? Let me check. 23 seconds.
That's good. Oh boy.
Next week we got a very interesting show. We got a cooking show next week. So we're going to slow it down for all you single men who can't cook, all you women who looking for a new recipe, all you people who are fat trying to lose some weight. Who else? What other people are we looking at?
Hey, I tell you like this, y'all got to tune in next week because you thought you knew how to prepare spam. Yeah.
Until prison tells you. Anyway, hey, look, about 4 minutes. 4 minutes. There's three of us, about a minute, 30 seconds each, 20 seconds perhaps. What is your takeaway from the show, Ace?
You put me on the spot. Takeaway. I just had a comparison made real quick. We discussed a couple of people: R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, and definitely Sha'Carri. So it's funny. We talk about. I see people the rules of this, and she deserved. You know, people actually saying she deserved this and that. So let's put this in perspective. Sha'Carri smokes marijuana. It's against the Olympic rules. She was banned. She didn't get to participate and everything, right? She broke the rules and she had to pay the consequences. R. Kelly sleeps with, he's a grown man sleeping with kids. I'm pretty sure there's rules against that. And we support him because he made music. You got people saying free R. Kelly and stuff like that. So where is our sense of thinking? You know, he had the correct name, Pied Piper. You know, as a culture, as a community, we got to start putting what's right ahead of what makes us feel good. Because a lot of time, what makes you feel good is not necessarily right. You know, and Bobby talks about sins of the flesh. The flesh is strong. But just think about that for a second. We're crucifying her. She smoked marijuana. She went against the rules, and she's paying the price for that. We're crucifying her, but he gets to sleep with kids, and people are saying that he needs to be out of there because people are beating him up. So just think about that kind of stuff.
Eric?
I would just say, you know, thinking about a lot of Bible lessons I've been listening to and reading and things of that nature. Something the pastor I listen to on a regular basis, Pastor Ronnie Goins from Koinonia Christian Church. Something he talked about. He actually talked about this quite a bit in the Bible study, and it's just a conversation everybody had with one another. Opinions. Even the thing about Monique and her opinion about the abundance or whatever case may be, and people going against her against that. People have different views. Like, and going back to what I was saying about the other elderly lady, what she said about reeling people in with the worm on the hook. I mean, sometimes it's okay to let people have opinions and let them be with who they are for the time being. Because sometimes people lose their way, right? And people do make mistakes, and that's just the bottom line of it. People make mistakes, and if you have made a mistake again, then you have the authority to point fingers. You have the authority to ridicule. You have the authority to do whatever you want to anybody else who's made a mistake. If you have not. If you have not, stop bamming that gavel on the desk on your nightstand, whatever the case may be, because you don't have authority to ridicule or talk bad or talk down to anybody. So once again, let's make sure that we are hold people accountable, including yourself, and then let's find out ways we can help that person to get better. Okay, that's my bottom line. Black on black crime. That's black on white. That's white on black. That's Hispanic on Asian. Whatever the case may be, just treat people right. obviously we were talking about black community right now and black on black crime. So let's start at home. Black on black. Let's make it happen, man.
Well, both of y'all took my time, so I'll just go ahead and make it quick.
Hey, that's real black on black crime.
Yeah, that's what the crime was. I didn't get No, I think that, whatever decisions you make, there's a consequence to it. And whether it be good, whether it be bad, you sowed a seed somewhere. Of course, Sha'Carri this time smoked the seed, but that's a whole different story. I think that it's very necessary for you to understand that there's a consequence to your decision. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. What I like about Sha'Carri is she owned up to it. She broke a rule. The rule is a rule. She could have not done it. She had an option. She chose to do it. I don't think that we should be against the Olympics. I don't think that we should be against her. I think we should understand that the rule was broken and the consequence went out, and the world is going to continue to roll like it's supposed to. That's what it is. And I think that all of us have that same ability in the rest of our community, our culture. Black people have an option. Our option is to either be positive, to be negative, to lift up, or to tear down. That is our option. And if we choose to do the better, if we choose to do the latter, we're going to continue to get what we're getting. But if we choose to do the former, what we're going to get is we're going to get a stronger, healthier nation, and definitely a stronger, healthier community and black, part of our country. So I think that that's what we need to really focus on, is how we're going to continue to look at people and move forward and speak life and speak goodness and godliness and Jesus, as my mother said, into our own community. Well, anyway, hey, thank y'all for watching us tonight. For Kimberly Dial in her absence, Eric Russell, Adrian The Ace Stinson, my name is Anthony Goodson. We'll see you next week when we have our cooking show. Mina Ross,
to Haiti.
The
Peace
radio
out to Haiti.
boss.
Let's pray for Haiti.
See y'all next week.